All right, welcome everybody. Who's in that TV audience?
Oh, we just have Eve Marie right
Hi, Eve Marie. So
now.
this workshop, so important. Really, is one that really gives a sense of how our body works, right? And what it is that makes for a happy and healthy life. And I hope when this half hour is done, all right, we're going to leave feeling, well, that was really worth it. You know, I've actually had quite a few people after this workshop go, wow, that makes so much sense. So we're gonna jump right into it, all right? So here, does anybody know what that is? Safety. So happen to have one right here. All right, and is that safety pin open or closed? Open. Does a safety pin work better open or closed?
Closed.
It's closed, right? If it's open, first of all, it's going to pinch the baby and also going to get poop all over the place. All right? And I always tell the story because it's always reminds me of this, is that when I kind of grew up in a sheltered neighborhood in Brooklyn from 6th grade. I don't know if anybody knows Manhattan Beach, but it was this mile-long, block-wide peninsula. Sheepshead Bay on one side and Venice on the Narrows on the other. Actually, Kathy grew up in Sheepshead Bay on the other side of the bay. Tough kids. And then all of a sudden, 7th grade, I had to go to school on the other side of the bay with the tough kids. And her brothers, right? And it was like going to the general population in jail. You know, like all of a sudden, I was like, oh my God.
It was a really nice neighborhood.
It was a nice neighborhood, but those kids were like so much more advanced than us. They were drinking and smoking, and they had knives, and they were fighting. And we were like these little Jewish kids, like what's going on here, you know? So, and the girls used to have safety pins, and they opened them up when you went up the stairway, and they get you with them, you know, or they knock your books out of your hands. And we're like,
No, but he says, I remind him of one of them that would.
oh, definitely. I would have it all teased up. Right?
And her safety pin.
He's gonna get.
You know, those kids too. And she told her, your grandfather or your father.
My father would
Mr.
jump
Joe.
off the piers.
Right. Well, there was a bridge that crossed the bay. It was the only footbridge left in Brooklyn. Probably, it was the only footbridge I think left in the whole city. It's still there. But at that time, they had these big lampposts, and all the kids, not from my side, from the other side,
From my side.
from my side, of Irish kids. Right?
Exactly.
They dive off the lamps, these wooden lamps, but for money. You know, people used to throw money. They dive off for money. And then when I was a little older, when I was in 9th grade, I was friends with all those kids. I used to sell commissions on the beach with them. So, right? So I went and did it with them. So, so I jumped off the bridge. So anyway, so I'm a little ADD.
Long story short.
Long story short, it works better closed. You want it closed, right?
He's not still traumatized or anything.
So what is this all about? What do we have to say? So the top represents the brain, and the bottom represents the body. in the body. Now, messages from the brain that go to the body, that's called the efferent nervous system. Efferent, that's when the brain goes to the body. Afferent is the body back to the brain. Right? Body back to the brain. As a chiropractor, we've been talking about this forever, about the efferent nervous system. Because it's the messages from the body back to the brain that lets the brain know what's going out in the world, what's happening in the world. That's where all our senses are, right? So you touch something hot, you get a message up your arm, up your neck, to your brain, hot, and then your brain sends a message back to your arm. Pull your arm away. Right? So what is that? That's action and response. So this is constantly happening. Constantly monitoring what's happening out in the world, and also internally. A way of looking at it internally is, let's say, you eat a slice of pizza, right? And the special taste of the pizza sends a message to taste buds, send a message to your brain, it's pizza, so the brain sends the right enzymes to the stomach to digest that pizza. Right? Lactose enzyme, right? Lactose.
It's
Lactose digesting cheese. If you're Jewish, right? You don't have any of that. And it's true. Different cultures lack certain enzymes to digest certain foods for some reason. I'm just like, you know what I'm talking about. Right? So anyway, so anyways, so this all makes sense, right? So what we need is we need the connection between the brain and the body, right? So we need these nerves. We need them to be communicating so they can coordinate, that we're able to adapt and respond, and that gives us help. Right? So it's the connection, the communication, coordination, working together, and that gives us help. So every second, every part of our lives, this is what's happening. Constantly. When I talk to you, I'm adapting and responding to your expressions. I would say that people on the spectrum can't, let's say, read people's expression. They don't really know how people are responding. Does that affect their relationships with the world? If any of us are in relationships, right, the better we're able to read each other, right? If a spouse can't read you, if you can't read them, you're not able to adapt and respond to them. And says, uh-oh, better shut up, right? Sends a message to your mouth, zip it up, right? So, I mean, this is constant, digesting our food. Every step we take, millions, if not trillions of messages, just to be standing up. Take it so for granted, just that balance. Muscles tightening, muscles loosening is a part of our nervous system called the vestibular. It's all to do with balance, telling our muscles what to do. All the joints are working together, all the muscles, all the ligaments, right? And the proprioception tells us where we are in space. And so proprioception is a part of the nervous system. It says, oh, so let's say, when you see someone pulled over, they've been drinking, alcohol affects our proprioception. We don't have a sense of where we are. So that's why you close your eyes, you're going like this, so you could know where your nose is without seeing. Right? Now, that could go a lot deeper, again, because one of the things that say people on the spectrum have is most of them have a great lack of proprioception. They have no idea where they are in space. They feel really ungrounded all the time. That's why they spin. They go like this so they can feel themselves. So let's say just for, you know, walking down the street, does anybody walk down the street, they didn't know the curb was there?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that, right? So if you knew the curb was there, if your proprioception was that the curb is there, then your body, without you even realizing it, would adapt to respond to that change of pressure of the difference in height, right? You don't even have to think about it. But this party, you know, somehow your vision picked it up, knowing that that curve was. But let's say you didn't get that message to your brain, the proprioception was off. Bam, right? You're not able to adapt and respond. Makes sense?
Mhm.
Everything's adaptation and response. Everything's adaptation and response. So that's where we're talking about. We have the connection through the nervous system, right? We have communication between the brain and the body, and now the brain and the body are able to coordinate and adapt and respond. Right? So that could be in relationships, that could be determining digestion, it could be just how we work our way. This is it, right? So would you all agree with me that life has changed?
Yes, definitely.
You never know what's going to happen. You agree with how you deal with those things, what makes them difference. It's adaptation. So our bodies work by being connected. So we're talking about the nerve system. And now, I used to be a ski patrolman. Right? So I was like a first responder. Now my son is. And one of the first things, they call them the ABC. So you have to make sure that the airway is clear. The person doesn't have, you know, something stuck in their throat. Right? Then you check AP is that they are breathing, that the lungs are working. C is circulation. And the last thing to make sure, one of the most important things is that it's a connection between the brain and the body, that there's no spinal cord injury. No spinal cord. So let me ask everybody, how long do you think it takes? How long can a person live without food? A couple of weeks, maybe as long as a month. Right? How about water?
2 days.
A couple of days. 5 days. How about air?
2 minutes.
A few minutes. How about messages from the brain to the body? I mean, that electric frequencies. So this is our life force. This is where we have this connection. So we talk about subluxations. Subluxations are a disconnect between the brain and the body. That's it, right? So we have this disconnect. We're not able to, we don't have the communication, we don't have the coordination, and we don't have that response. So we're going to get a little bit more into this. All right? So when we have a subluxation, you don't really have bone against the nerve. If you had, unless there's extenosis or something, that would be, I mean, it would be incredibly painful, but a good part of the subluxation actually has to do with the leak of synovial fluid. So we're not going to get all into it. There's other workshops that talk about it. But either way, the nerve is there. Now, part of this nerve, let's say this nerve goes to the stomach, it would affect communication from the brain to the stomach. So that's directed. So now the stomach is able to adapt and respond. It's the same way it can't digest food. So there's also a message here that feeds back to the brain. Part of the brain feeds back to is called the limbic system, which is the reptilian brain, which is the fight or flight. So we're going to a stress response. So the subluxation could cause pain. Subluxation could affect, let's say, you could get tingling in your hands or pain down your legs or whatever it is. But what the subluxation also does is feedback and causes us to go into a stress response or fight or flight. So what happens to our body when we go to a fight or flight? Tighten up, which now we have a whole cycle. But there's other things that happen. The other things that happen is that when we go into the fight or flight, it's going to affect our immunity because it's a low priority to be fighting a virus if we're in survival, if we take a parent's. So has anybody noticed that people get sick when they're stressed? That's why we're in that survival. Now the other thing is that when we're in that fight or flight, that stress response, we see the world more as a friendly place or as a hostile place. So this is what the subluxation really does to us, is it puts our bodies more in sympathetic fight or flight. The rest of it's kind of an oversimplification. That affects us in every single way. We're going to be able to adapt and respond better when we're in the stress response. Think about it. Think about yourself, right? Would you say you deal with things in a healthier way when you're more stressed and when you're less stressed? So it affects our actual response in so many ways. So the thing is that subluxations are really affecting school. Like notice when I adjust you, that all of a sudden your breathing opens up. You ever notice that? You guys notice that all of a sudden the breath opens up? Alfie's waiting for it. Oh, look, your breath is opening. That's the parasympathetic nervous system. So when you're adjusting, we're taking you out of that stress response. Sympathetic. Parasympathetic is where we experience love and great food. That's where our body feels. The cell is not able to heal on a cellular level if that cell is in survival. All the energy is just going to survive. So people come here to get these miraculous results. Oh, I can't believe how much better I feel. It's because now finally the body could heal. So, subluxations are bad. So good.
I'll never look at a safe.
So come and that's you have to respond to everything you're like. All right. We get to see it. We always close this. We talk about these babies who come in. We see it's like switching a button. We get these mothers who come in and have these babies colicky. But what colicky means is that they're subluxated. They're uncomfortable. They're unhappy. They can't relax.
I had a patient today ask, why do babies respond so quickly? And I answered, but I'd like you to answer.
Well, because they haven't been holding it.
Right. They thought that was just fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does tighten back up again, but they're not holding it. It's just like that. Switch. It's like hitting a switch, and all of a sudden you get these babies like this, and all of a sudden, and they start cooling and smiling. Some of them for the first time, and they're that's a big deal. And that, that happens to us. Marissa is very happy to say, hey, when she first started working here, she experienced a panic attack. She said, every week, after 2 weeks of working here, that stopped. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. So anyway, if anybody knows, if you know anybody who doesn't know, if you know about chiropractic, please tell them. Life's changed. I'm not like rah-rah chiropractic, no, I kind of am. This isn't a rah-rah session, it's just this is the way it is. Where, nervous system is who we are. It's the basis of our existence. So if you could actually make changes in the nervous system. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.